All right, folks, this is Acid Root. So I'm gonna review Eminem's 2013 album Marshall Mathers LP2. Now, this is one of the remaining Eminem records that I need to review, and I've kind of had a lot of mixed feelings about this project. I feel like I could probably talk about this review for probably a couple hours. There's so much discussion to have about this project just because it was like a very poignant time to come out, and it definitely had a real heralded amount just because Eminem had did like Recovery, and that had like a second win success that got Eminem back in the spotlight after his hiatus and things like that, and his overdose and that sort of thing. But this was really like the first project of the 2010s where he kind of was after, like, it's like, okay, the overdose, the hiatus, the retirement, all that sort of stuff, the sleeping pills, Proof, Kim, all that stuff's behind him. Now what's kind of on his mind? And in a lot of ways, the stuff that I saw, when I listened to it back in the day, I noticed that I really didn't revisit this project. And that's kind of the continual thought that I have about it. It's not really something that when I look back on it, I have very many fond memories of. I mean, I have fond memories of 2013, 2014 because of like YouTube and stuff, but this project is not really associated with that. And there's a number of reasons, like Eminem is completely drug free. His efforts have kind of changed. Like this production on here, he does samples. He has more of like a rock rap on here, but the thing about it, it's not like Limp Bizkit and Korn type new metal as much as it is like, it kind of feels like something out of like a country bar, or like some sort of Harley Davidson kind of motorcycle club type stuff. And that's fine if you like that sort of style, but it really doesn't seem to match up with Eminem very well. It really feels like a completely left field, out of nowhere, just completely unprovoked type thing to mess with on this project. And I looked on Wikipedia, and it had basically said that he was aiming for a style similar to Beastie Boys' License to Ill, which I've reviewed on this channel. You can find it, but it doesn't fit him. And neither, like, it also said that he was kind of trying to go back to turntablism, which is like another type word for like boom bap type rap music. And Eminem is a fan of this. To briefly note that Eminem is a fan of like late 1980s and early 90s rap, which was back when it was more minimalist in production, more stark and less kind of enveloping, like when Dr. Dre kind of really put that forth with G Funk and like the Chronic and Doggy Style and that type stuff. So bringing it back to like 1986 and 1991 wasn't really the best move, because this is probably the first project of Eminem that I can't say I liked all the singles, or at least 80 or 90% of them. And this became a trend later. And it definitely became a trend later. And I mean, really, I give Eminem credit for the song Berserk, just because he at least was trying to do like his comical style that he always used to do for his first singles. But it was just a terrible rendition of it. It doesn't stand up to the real Slim Shady, or My Name Is, or Without Me, or Just Lose It, or you know, the other one, We Made You, and that type stuff. It really, it's goofy, it's kind of comical, it's lackadaisical, but the effects of it, I just really felt like doing rock rap doing rock rap production is just as important as doing it in like a regular rap song with like normal kind of club sounding beats. So the way, I mean, it was supposed to be a rowdy type song, but it really felt like something that's really ripped out in 1986, and it didn't pull it off well at all. And that's like the main complaint. One of the main complaints I have about this project is just the choices for what was aimed for here are just so far. I mean, he bricks almost every single time on one of the rap rock results. That's the thing. I mean, Eminem, he's tried to pull off rock rap, but 80%, 85%, 90% of the time he doesn't pull it off. And it really kind of almost looks embarrassing just because, someone like Deuce can do it miles better. Someone like Fred Durst can do it miles better. And, people like that. I mean, that's just the sort of concept you have to deal with it. But the unfortunate thing is because he teamed up with Rick Rubin, that is kind of a prevalent theme that just really bogs down this project. But all right, so I'm going to talk about the singles. There were 5 of them. There was a lot of stuff that went along with this. I already kind of talked about Berserk. Berserk was the song that came out once the VMAs took off, and that was kind of like the hype for the project. Like I said, I mean, I described the reasoning behind why I didn't really enjoy this record. Just complete. I mean, it works and I like Eminem's energy on this project, but I felt like the vessel for it was really pulled off pretty badly. And that's kind of the thing. If it would have been on something that could have been smoother, at least more like synchronized with what he was trying to do, it would have worked. But it really just felt like a mess. Survival was better. That's the next single. Survival was better. And this was also paired up with Call of Duty. And this is back when Eminem was kind of promoting things and stuff. But I like this team up. It was a great song. It makes you want to play Call of Duty and stuff. Has a great hook. The chick on that hook did a pretty well job. And it felt like an anthem to kind of get you going. Not so much like a hype song like Berserk, but just kind of a motivator. Just kind of like, yeah, it's going to be a good night. I saw it kind of as like an arena rap type song, more of like a setting where you're not at home and listening to Eminem, which is kind of the thing. I mean, some of his songs you can't really tell where you'd listen to them, but this really felt like a place where you'd be at like a basketball game, a football game, at some concert, just doing whatever, just out in public, basically. It felt like a public kind of song to listen to, and it's good. I mean, it's uncommon for that for Eminem, but the other 2 songs, so 3 out of 5 of the singles I didn't like. I mean, Rap God, it was kind of a big deal when it first came out, but I really can't appreciate this song just because I feel like it's not as good as it thinks it is. And the song is just too long. I mean, it went on for 6 minutes, and I felt like it probably should have ended after about 3.5 or 4. They should have kept it short. But I mean, the beat is okay. It's really one of the few beats that I actually feel like is tolerable on this project. But I don't know. I mean, it's just not as convincing. For some reason, Eminem just going in and completely obliterating a song was not quite as appealing as it would have been like 6 or so years before that. Like if he had done that back in 2004, it would have worked a lot better. But I don't know. It's as if he kind of lost his luster. It's difficult to describe, but the way I want to describe it is kind of when you listen to a song like Godzilla, it just felt really watered down. I mean, Eminem really struggles with doing singles anymore, and it just feels like he cannot quite find beats quite as catchy as songs like Without Me and Cleaning Out My Closet. I mean, on Cleaning Out My Closet, he just didn't care. That was one of the creepiest songs, but Rap God just felt like, I mean, it's not as watered down as Godzilla, but it still is pretty watered down. It just felt like it did not have as much bite. He was kind of pulling his punches, but it wasn't like he was intentionally. It was unintentionally pulling his punches, which means he didn't realize he was doing it, which is a bad thing. And felt like watered down Eminem. The Monster was decent, but really that song was not overwhelmingly good either. I mean, I like Rihanna on the hook, but I used to really like that song when it first came out, but I really don't enjoy it as much as I did. And I can understand why it didn't stay at #1 for very long. I mean, once again, the production is kind of minimalist and it just didn't do much. I mean, really, it just felt kind of quick to the point, and then it was gone. It just was Eminem reciting his demons, and that was really about it. It just felt like a very brief song, and it was just odd. I mean, it's still a song I would pick, but I just would have to kind of say like hell. And then Headlights, which was the song where he rectified his relationship with his mother. This is another kind of dull one. I mean, I feel like it's necessary, but at the same time, I kind of look at it like, I don't know. I mean, really, I felt like this is more of a personal song for Eminem. But unfortunately, this is one of the first times I'd have to say that Eminem doing personal songs was just not that appealing. I mean, when he did it back when he was angry rather than remorseful, it worked, but it just felt like he wasn't able to pull off doing a remorseful and kind of actually apologetic Eminem very well. So that's kind of the thing. So yeah, I mean, for the most part, the only real single that I can full blown say was like a complete success was just Survival, but the Monster was pretty close. And all right, to talk about the rest of this project, I mean, for the most part, I really simply did not enjoy this album at all. And that's just the thing about it. I mean, they're like most of this project just deals with doing rock rap and doing samples and that type stuff. And I just feel like Rick Rubin, who really is a relic in rap music, if you don't know, he worked with the Beastie Boys and people like KRS-One and, like I said, the boom bap era and people from like the late 80s, like 1985 and stuff. So, I mean, in ways he is a legend, but it's archaic in a sense. It's very much a relic more so than anything else. Even in, I mean, if that was like that in 2013, it's definitely like that now. But yeah, I just feel like if you're looking for like classic encore Eminem show and relapse type beats, there's hardly any of that. You just have to understand there's like maybe a sparse couple. Like I felt like Brainless is probably one of the best beats on here, and then Bad Guy. Those are my two favorite beats on this project. Bad Guy is brilliant because it's a sequel to Stan, real good song, and has a great beat on there. I liked everything except for the beat switch at the end. And then same thing with Brainless, real vicious song. But there's just too many songs on here that just had this real kind of, you know, dirty South kind of country bar type vibe. Like I said, a real Harley Davidson type, you know, just feels like almost like some pub or something. I don't know. It was odd. That's kind of the concept behind it. That's what I got from Love Game so far. Stronger Than I Was, Desperation, Wicked Ways. So I want to say So Much Better. Maybe not so much better, but enough of these. Berserk. Let me retry this again. Like Love Game so far, Berserk, and Desperation and Wicked Ways. I mean, he really tries out this kind of Rick Rubin style, and it really doesn't hit the nail on the head at all. And that's kind of the thing about it is a lot of this just doesn't feel like Eminem. It feels like Bubba Sparks is kind of mixed with like some brand new white rapper who is trying to make a name for himself, so wants to throw back to like the 80s and prove that he knows homage of rap music. And it's just not Eminem. That's kind of the thing about it. I mean, yeah, he's being original. Yeah, he's being innovative. Yeah, he's trying something new. But if you do not have enough of a tone deaf sense to realize that the stuff that you're trying new is basically plocking and belly flopping, then that should tell you something. I mean, I don't feel like musicians should put out crap music just to test the waters. It's not a good skill set. Now, there's enough people out there that feel like it's a good receptive album, but there's just not enough enjoyable on here. Like the only real sample I truly enjoyed was this Rhyme or Reason. I like that song, whatever the original song was, and just stuff like that. You know, Skylar Grey kind of had like a, you know, just some of these songs, they just were not noteworthy. That's the whole thing about them, is there's just how many of them. I guess I'll list like the 6 songs out of 21 that I enjoyed so you can pick up on it. So, 6 songs I recommend to you out of 21 would be Bad Guy, Brainless, The Monster, Rhyme or Reason, Survival, and Beautiful Pain. Now, to talk about Beautiful Pain, that's about as close as it gets to the old Recovery era. I mean, Eminem revisits Recovery like twice. He revisits it with the Rihanna song, and then he revisits it with the Sia song Beautiful Pain. Both of these sound like Recovery, but the whole thing Eminem wants you to know about that is he's moved on from Recovery. That's not what he's trying to do this time. He has a bag of new tricks, but they fall flat most of the time. And that's kind of the concept behind it. Just between uninteresting samples and when the rap songs, I mean, most of it is kind of this 80s rock, country rock, but the rest of it, like some of these rap songs like Legacy and Rap God and Evil Twin and like just records like that. I mean, they are okay, but Eminem really just is not able to pull it off. I mean, the thing that he does on these rap songs is the fact that he does not really do a hook and he just goes in rapping like the whole time. It's just not interesting because you kind of want a song about it, but he's just giving like this long verse, and that's really all it is. And the beats are not quite as interesting as they would be. I feel like it just faltered, and this is kind of where Eminem started showing that he started losing like his aptitude at finding good production. This is starting to be proven. Legacy was not as good as it could have been, and Brainless was good, but it still did not feel like a complete home run. Evil Twin didn't have a hook on there like it needed to, and Bad Guy had that beat switch at the end. So the rap songs just felt really kind of secondhand and kind of under pushed. And that's kind of the thing. It's really like Eminem wanted you to focus on his newfangled styles that his team up with Rick Rubin that just plain didn't work that well at all. But all right, so I'm like I said, I've been going on. I could go on for a very long time here, but I'm gonna give this record, me liking 6 out of 21 songs, I'm gonna give this record a 2.5 out of 10. I really was not a fan of this project, and looking back on it, the reason why I took my time is because I knew it was a mess to review, and I thought maybe it would grow on me, maybe I would change my mind, me trying to listen to some of these songs here and there, but it just didn't. And that's the thing; these songs don't stick. They're not really that enjoyable. There's not really much jovial to talk about them. And I feel like this is basically Eminem's weakest effort minus Revival. This is in the bottom rung, and it just kind of does not, like I said, it doesn't have much positive to really go for it. I mean, the tricks that he pulled off, it just is amazing to me how, I mean, there was rock rap on Recovery, but it just was pulled off better. And I feel like he really was shooting like bricks and air balls on this project. They just did not have any sort of like accuracy. It was just a severe lack of accuracy that was just blind shots and not even caring that they were blind shots. So the social score, I'll give a 3.5 out of 10 just because there were 5 singles and they were Eminem. But this is disappointing because this was like the first project by Eminem that did not hit home. There were singles. Some people might like Berserk. I feel like Survival's better. The Monster is a good sequel to Love the Way You Lie. Headlights, if you like that sort of thing. But it just was not. I mean, really, the problem with it was there's just not. The problem with it was the singles just did not have the same enjoyment that they needed to, and this was the project where you first started to kind of notice that. I mean, Recovery was different. It was a change of pace for Eminem, but it pulled it off better because he had a better acumen about doing it. But he just didn't have that this time. Somehow it felt like his equilibrium was off, and the stuff that he was trying to do, he just lost his Midas touch basically, and that's kind of the thing about it. So yeah, I mean that's just the thing, is just kind of noticing that with these new tricks, maybe Eminem was trying to disguise these new tricks with the fact that he kind of did not somehow have. I mean, his lyrics were definitely down pat, but it just felt like he didn't focus on songwriting and picking singles that could actually hit home. And the new tricks that he tried did not stand up to the ones that he did 20 or back in 2001 and stuff. So that's kind of the thing about it.